So an experience I had earlier in my architectural career taught me to consider the site of a project beyond its topography and its geological makeup. My experience led me to research the work of people such as Richard Laplastria, the Australian architect, Neri Oxman, the medical and architectural graduate now running the media lab in MRT, and Johanni Palasma of the Academy of Neuroscience for Architecture. From Laplastria I learnt that everything stays on the land. Everything that occurs on the land leaves an imprint and an impact on the land, whether we see it or not. From Oxman, I learnt that nature is also a client in the project. And from Plasma, I learnt that land wants balance restored before we build. The project family was indeed a project for a family. When I met the clients in 2012, they were medical registrars planning the house for their future family. We had many discussions about the parents they wanted to be, as well as the house that would suit this future family. Principle 1 was applied to the project family house through a process I developed as a site analysis tool that works with the history of the site. This process was developed with reference to Gail Reichstein's work on earth acupuncture and through my own studies in kinesiology. The process identifies points on the site that connect the history within the site that the land wants me to work with. Principle 2, nature is also a client in the project, is applied through numbers. Numbers have always represented elements of nature. Charts are drawn and numbers positioned. Principle 3, that the land wants balance restored before we build, is achieved through connecting the numbers representing the elements within nature. Straight lines are connections between yang numbers and curved lines between yin numbers, the two sides of nature. This mapping process provides the generating information for the building design. The client's brief is read alongside the brief from the land. The client's brief is deconstructed and each component is matched to elements and thereby to numbers. The dual briefs are compared and interpreted through the coding of the numbers and colours used deliberately in the mapping process. The negative and positive space starts to present. The elements rise from the land to inform the building. The information from the site informs all layers of the building. Here it is starting to inform the base layer. The section, the coloured section here, if I zap that.
Wendy, if you turn it on, it seems to keep going off. Yeah.
There we go. So the purple section here is the original Californian Bungalow, and I'll explain more about the design brief that came up with this. So the information from the site informs all the layers of the building. Here it's starting to inform the base layer. Further refinements to the client's brief sees the revisitation to the land's brief. The final plan belies the way the layers of the initial element mapping influences the design. So elements have a hierarchy within nature. To develop the 3D form, the priority lines were identified that sit at different heights in relation to the site. These priority lines comprise different elements. Here we can see that there are a number of layers of the building which are connected to different lines generated within the mapping tool. These layers can be seen from within the building, the straight yang lines intersecting with the yin curves in a metaphor of balance. These layers are further evident as one moves through the building. The staircase connects the extension into the room created within the ceiling space of the original building, thus integrating and balancing the old and the new. So the house works as two buildings. The front is the original house in the sleeping quarters of the family. The parents are doctors and often work night shift. So they need to have a contained space at the front, and we retain that building. So the original mapping, so you can see, hang on, there we go. So we can see that some of those original lines that were done in the initial mapping process place significant importance on the northwest corner of the house. This significance was realised as the design developed. The entry to the rear extension invites life to continue for those who are not sleeping. Thank you.